Good Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome back to my mini sketchbook tour of 2024. This is week number 20, I believe. And excuse my congested voice. I've been under the weather for the last few days, but I'm feeling better today. So let's get into my sketchbook tour. So this first spread was done at my local food court. This particular gentleman caught my attention initially because he had all these pockmarks that I guess came from a childhood illness. But looking at him a bit further, I sensed that he was just from his look, how he looked. Maybe I was totally off base, but he looked like a really kind man. His face conveyed that. And I thought I wanted, I tried to attempt to get that down on paper. I'm not too sure I was successful with it, but it was a good attempt. And the other objective for this particular spread was trying to layer this drawing. How do I convey depth into this drawing? So I drew the lady in the foreground and the gentleman just a simple outline in the background, hopefully conveying that sense of depth in here. This next spread is going back to something I love, commuter sketching. I could tell right away that these sketches were probably all done during the morning because my subjects were all napping. I usually get on the train about 5:45 in the morning, and if I weren't sketching, I'd be doing the same thing as these gentlemen were doing. But you know what? Who could pass up sleeping passengers when you have a sketchbook in your bag? So that's what I did. But I remember this particular gentleman kept on moving, and I'm like, stop moving, let me sketch you. But that is one of the cons of sketching commuters. You have no control of how they move. But it's a good exercise trying to get one pose down on paper quickly. So there's no room for small details in those types of drawings. This next drawing is probably my favorite from this week. Not because of the drawing themselves, but it brings back to mind how easily I saw the subjects, meaning that all my angles were lining up, how my proportions were lining up. It just came out of my pen quite easily to draw these figures. And dare I say, these are pretty accurate depictions of my subjects. I remember this particular gentleman finished his meal, just sat back and started picking his teeth, watching the people walk by him in the food court. And that really, there are quite a few characters in the food court that I go to, and this lady had a great pixie hairdo. That's what caught my attention and made me want to sketch her. Plus, she was working on some of her scratch tickets, so she was fairly immobile while I did her there and there as well. This next particular spread really, it is an exercise, or was an exercise, in trying to sustain my level of consistency from one portrait to the next. It took me about an hour, 15 minutes to complete, hour and a half maybe. To me, when I do these sort of prolonged spreads, it's about exercising that artistic muscle. Trying to be consistent in my line work, trying to keep the level of accuracy up the entire time. And like anything where you do it consistently and for a long period of time, hopefully you get better at it. And these particular spreads is what it's all about. It's exercising that artistic muscle. And I think this is the last spread for my small sketchbook. I'm going to switch over to my large sketchbook to show you two more drawings of faces. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are in my larger sketchbook. This first particular portrait was a more refined drawing of the drawing that I did in my smaller sketchbook, which was right here. This particular gentleman, it wasn't finished there, and I thought I would do his image justice and do a finished drawing right there. And the main objective of this particular drawing was to work on my line work, my cross hatching, make it neater, make it convey a sense of folds and curvature in his particular face. For example, along his cheekbone, there's a dip here, and I think a dense cross-hatching like that conveys that, and then it sort of gradually comes out to a lighter cross-hatch that hopefully conveys his cheekbones. So that's what I was working at, a neater, consistent cross-hatching drawing at a larger scale. The next large portrait was of this particular gentleman when I saw his photo on Earth's World, a site that I've mentioned many, many times in the past. It's a great site to get reference photos of unique looking people. So this particular drawing was of this gentleman who had some great cheekbone shadow there. So that's what caught my attention in his reference photo, and I just sort of went from there. His cheekbone was the darkest, as well as his hair there, and everything worked from that. What is lighter than that? How lighter is that? So I'm working on values in this drawing and trying to convey this gentleman accurately through values, but also through the composition of his face. Are his eyes lined up accurately with his nose in proportion to his mouth, etc., etc. And I think it turned out quite well. And I'll definitely continue to do these larger scale drawings, and hopefully I'll get better at my cross-hatching at this scale. So that is it, folks. Thank you for joining me for week number 20. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a great week. I hope you will have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.